Hello, my friends. This is the channel's first video, Horror Stories. We hope you like these stories in terms of excitement, suspense, and horror. It is not recommended to watch for people with a weak heart. Blackwood High School, an imposing building nestled on the outskirts of a small, quiet town, held a dark secret. For years, students whispered about strange occurrences within its aging halls, attributing them to the school's eerie past. The legend spoke of a former principal, Mr. Hawthorne, who had met a gruesome end in the basement of the school decades ago. Some claimed his spirit never truly departed. The tales grew more unsettling when a series of unexplained events began to unfold. It all started innocently enough with students hearing faint whispers echoing in the empty hallways. Lockers would slam shut on their own, and lights flickered inexplicably. Teachers dismissed these occurrences as mere coincidences, but the students knew better. Samantha, a quiet and observant student, decided to investigate further. She delved into the school's archives and found old newspaper clippings recounting Mr. Hawthorne's death. The articles detailed the gruesome discovery of his body, which was found in the basement with an expression of pure terror frozen on his face. The cause of death was never determined. Samantha's curiosity led her to seek out the janitor, Mr. Jenkins, who had worked at Blackwood High for decades. He was known for his gruff demeanor, but had a wealth of knowledge about the school's history. One evening, as Samantha questioned him about the basement, Mr. Jenkins hesitated but finally confessed. He revealed that the basement had been sealed off for years, as it was considered cursed. Nobody dared enter it since the tragic event involving Mr. Hawthorne. However, Samantha's determination was unwavering. She convinced her friend Jake to accompany her on a secret mission to uncover the truth. Armed with flashlights and bravery, they descended into the dark, foreboding basement. As they ventured deeper into the underground labyrinth, the air grew colder and their flashlights flickered ominously. Whispers surrounded them, growing louder with each step. Panic set in, but they pushed forward. In the heart of the basement, they discovered an old, dusty room. In its center stood a decaying wooden chair chained to the floor. Samantha recognized it from the newspaper photos as the chair where Mr. Hawthorne met his end. Suddenly, the room filled with an icy presence, and the door slammed shut behind them. A malevolent force seemed to grip them, immobilizing them in fear. They watched in horror as a shadowy figure materialized before their eyes, the tormented spirit of Mr. Hawthorne. His eyes bore into theirs, filled with anguish and rage. He uttered words they couldn't comprehend, and the room seemed to come alive with malevolence. It became clear that Mr. Hawthorne's spirit sought revenge for his untimely demise. Desperate to escape, Samantha and Jake clung to each other, summoning all their courage. With a burst of determination, Samantha yelled at the vengeful spirit, demanding it release them. As if heeding her command, the spirit dissipated, and the room returned to its eerie stillness. The door slowly creaked open, allowing the terrified students to flee the basement, leaving behind the haunted past of Blackwood High. Crestwood Academy had always been a respected institution, known for its academic excellence and pristine reputation. However, beneath the surface, a sinister secret lurked that would shake the foundations of the school to its core. It all began when Sarah, a diligent student with a passion for history, stumbled upon a dusty old book hidden deep within the library's archives. The book detailed the tragic history of Crestwood Academy, revealing a disturbing past that had long been forgotten. Decades ago, the school was run by a strict headmistress named Miss Hawthorne, who had a dark obsession with discipline. She was rumored to have subjected students to cruel punishments, often locking them in a basement detention room known as the Pit. As Sarah read on, she learned that a group of students had mysteriously disappeared in 1965, their fate remaining a mystery. The school had been shrouded in scandal, but no one knew the truth of what had transpired. Intrigued and determined to uncover the mystery, Sarah recruited her friends, Michael and Emma, to help her investigate. Armed with old yearbooks and historical records, they began piecing together the events of that fateful year. As they delved deeper into the history, strange things began to occur. Muffled cries and whispers echoed through the empty hallways after dark. Lockers slammed shut on their own, and eerie apparitions were seen in the windows of the abandoned basement. Undeterred by the growing sense of dread, the trio decided to explore the infamous basement detention room, the pit. Armed with flashlights, they descended into the darkness, their footsteps echoing eerily. Inside the room, they discovered a scene frozen in time. Dust-covered desks and chairs stood in disarray, as if the students had vanished suddenly, leaving their belongings behind. Chalkboard writings from the 1960s remained, describing the horrors of detention. Suddenly the air grew frigid, and the room's atmosphere shifted. The ghostly apparitions of students from the past materialized before them, their faces etched with anguish. Among them, they saw a spectral figure clad in an old-fashioned school uniform, Miss Hawthorne herself. The vengeful spirits accused Miss Hawthorne of their torment and imprisonment. They demanded justice and retribution for the pain she had inflicted upon them. The room pulsed with malevolent energy, and the trio felt trapped in a nightmarish ordeal. Sarah, summoning her courage, pleaded with the vengeful spirits to find peace and forgiveness. Slowly, the room's malevolence began to dissipate. The spirits, no longer bound by their anguish, faded away one by one, leaving behind a profound silence. With the curse lifted, Crestwood Academy returned to normal. The history of Miss Hawthorne and her cruel reign was no longer a forgotten secret. The school had learned a valuable lesson about the importance of compassion and empathy, and its halls were forever cleansed of the lingering malevolence. St. Agnes Academy, an imposing Victorian-era building, had long been a place of learning and discipline. But beneath its grand exterior lay a sinister secret, one that would haunt the school for generations to come. It all began when Emily, a new student, arrived at St. Agnes Academy. She was drawn to the school's rich history, but soon discovered whispered rumors of mysterious occurrences. Students spoke of strange shadows that moved through the hallways after dark, and chilling whispers that echoed in the night. Undeterred by the tales, Emily decided to investigate. She delved into the school's archives, uncovering a series of old diaries belonging to a former student, Eliza. The diaries revealed a horrifying tale. Eliza's entries spoke of a secret society that operated within the school, known as the Cursed Collective. This group dabbled in the occult and practiced dark rituals beneath the school's basement. Emily couldn't believe what she was reading. It was a story of unspeakable evil lurking within the academy's walls. Determined to uncover the truth, Emily sought the help of her friend, Alex, and together they ventured into the depths of the school's basement. Armed with flashlights, they discovered a hidden chamber, its walls adorned with eerie symbols and candles. As they explored further, they stumbled upon an old journal belonging to Eliza, the former student. The journal detailed a terrifying ritual that required a sacrifice to unlock dark powers. Emily realized that this ritual had been performed decades ago and that the shadows and whispers were the remnants of its malevolent energy. Their exploration was cut short when they heard an otherworldly whisper, and the shadows in the room began to coalesce into a horrifying, shadowy figure. Panic set in as the entity lunged towards them, its form shifting and distorting. Desperate to escape, Emily and Alex fled the basement, but the malevolent force pursued them relentlessly. They raced through the darkened hallways with the entity hot on their heels. Just as it closed in, they reached the school's chapel. Inside the chapel, they found an old relic, a holy artifact that emitted a blinding light. With the entity closing in, Emily held the artifact aloft, and the room was filled with a brilliant radiance. The entity shrieked in agony and vanished into nothingness. As the light subsided, Emily and Alex knew they had put an end to the darkness that had plagued St. Agnes Academy for so long. The school returned to normal, and the chilling secrets of the Cursed Collective were buried forever. Oak Ridge Elementary School was nestled in a quiet suburban neighborhood, known for its charm and a strong sense of community. However, beneath its welcoming facade, an ominous secret lay hidden, one that would disturb the peace of the entire town. It all began when Miss Anderson, a dedicated teacher at Oak Ridge Elementary, started noticing peculiar occurrences within the school. At first, they seemed harmless. Books moved on their own, faint whispers echoed through the hallways, and objects inexplicably vanished. Miss Anderson dismissed these incidents as mere coincidences until she stumbled upon an old, forgotten journal in the school's dusty attic. The journal belonged to a former school custodian named Elias, who had mysteriously vanished in 1975. The entries revealed unsettling stories of strange occurrences and encounters with an otherworldly presence. Intrigued and unnerved, Miss Anderson shared the journal with her colleague, Mr. Collins, a history teacher. Together, they decided to investigate the history of the school, hoping to uncover the truth behind the eerie happenings. Their research led them to an urban legend surrounding Oak Ridge Elementary. It was said that the school was built on the site of an old cemetery, and some believed that restless spirits of the deceased were responsible for the paranormal activity. Determined to unravel the mystery, Miss Anderson and Mr. Collins enlisted the help of Jake, a tech-savvy student known for his fearless curiosity. Armed with cameras and recording devices, they embarked on a late-night exploration of the school, focusing on the attic, where Elias had disappeared. As they ascended into the attic, the air grew colder, and an oppressive feeling settled over them. They set up their equipment and began asking questions, hoping to communicate with any lingering spirits. To their astonishment, faint voices replied through the static of their devices. Suddenly, the attic was plunged into darkness, and a chilling breeze swept through the room. Miss Anderson felt a spectral presence brush against her, and they heard Elias's name whispered in the wind. It was as if the spirits were trying to communicate. Terrified but determined to uncover the truth, they reviewed their recordings and discovered cryptic messages from the other side. The spirits seemed to be trapped, unable to move on, and they longed for release. With newfound resolve, Miss Anderson and Mr. Collins decided to hold a memorial ceremony for the forgotten souls buried beneath the school. They enlisted the help of the community, and together they paid their respects to the departed, offering prayers and apologies for the disturbance. As they completed the ceremony, a sense of peace washed over them, and the school was filled with an eerie yet tranquil silence. The paranormal activity ceased, and Oak Ridge Elementary returned to its idyllic state. The school had finally laid its dark history to rest, and Miss Anderson, Mr. Collins, and Jake knew that they had played a part in bringing closure to the restless spirits that had haunted Oak Ridge Elementary for decades. I hope you found this spine-tingling tale both realistic and intriguing. With newfound resolve, Miss Anderson and Mr. Collins decided to hold a memorial ceremony for the forgotten souls buried beneath the school. They enlisted the help of the community, and together they paid their respects to the departed, offering prayers and apologies for the disturbance. As they completed the ceremony, a sense of peace washed over them, and the school was filled with an eerie yet tranquil silence. The paranormal activity ceased, and Oak Ridge Elementary returned to its idyllic state.